Bonjour à tous et bienvenue pour ce webinaire organisé par Sphinx avec son partenaire NETMODULE. Avant de passer la parole à Ralf FACHET de NETMODULE pour la présentation IT4PT, je vais juste vous dire quelques mots d'introduction sur Sphinx France. Alors Sphinx France fait partie d'un groupe européen Sphinx présent dans 11 pays en Europe avec un total de 19 agences. Le groupe Sphinx, c'est 90 personnes présents depuis plus de 30 ans dans le marché du M2M et de l'IoT. En France, Sphinx est réparti sur 3 sites, Paris, Lyon et le siège social dans l'Ouest, en Vendée, à Montaigu, tout près de Nantes. Alors la mission de Sphinx, c'est d'accompagner nos clients intégrateurs, revendeurs, installateurs dans l'étude, la validation, le déploiement de projets IoT et de connectivité industrielle, au travers de marques leaders sur chacune de leurs marchés, marques que vous pouvez voir en bas du slide, et ce, dans les domaines aussi variés que le transport, l'énergie, l'industrie ou la ville, et ce, de la collecte de la donnée, en passant par la communication, le traitement, jusqu'à la supervision. De plus, Sphinx s'est doté d'un centre de compétences nommé IoT Labs, permettant de proposer des prestations de services comme de la formation, du développement customisé sur les produits vendus par Sphinx. Voilà en quelques mots la présentation sur Sphinx, mais je vais maintenant laisser la parole à Ralf FACHET de NETMODULE pour la présentation sur le sujet d'aujourd'hui, sur la labellisation IT4PT utilisée dans le milieu de tout ce qui est véhicules urbains et rails. Donc pour cette présentation, on va switcher en anglais, donc je vais donner la parole et basculer en anglais pour la présentation de Ralf.
The overview, as I said, the agenda, company, what's going on with digitalization in public transport, what's about IT4PD with NETMODULE products, what are specific services implemented in summary. NETMODULE, we have about over 100,000 units in the field running. We work with 50 international partners, and Sphinx is one of our biggest partner and a long-term partner, and it's a pleasure to work with you. We have 5 offices worldwide. The main office is in Switzerland. We have also offices in Frankfurt, in Germany, in Australia, and in Hong Kong. We have about 60 employees, and we have recently, 1 year ago, we celebrated our 20 years anniversary. Our business are reliable and modular products, and the key is to increase customers' efficiency by digital connectivity. It's not only in transportation, it's also in machinery, remote control anyway, power plants, etc. But our focus today will be in public transportation. We deliver in general industrial grade products. The main topic here is temperature range up to 70 degrees ambient temperature and 24/7 communication. We have so-called standard products. This is what you can buy off the shelf, but we also offer, if there is a requirement, customized or custom products as a service based on our standard products. And services including installation, configuration or training is also available. That's all about NETMODULE, so let's come to the main point, what is about the digitalization in public transport. So what we have seen over the last 10 years, that the digitalization in public transport has grown dramatically. Unfortunately, because many of the transport companies are local companies, they are working with local partners and with local solutions. So what we see today is that we have, for many projects, different requirements, small volumes, so it's not a good business. It's more what we say in Germany, you cut it out from the whole, so you make each solution individual. This is not good for the pricing. This is not good for the product quality, because if you have small volumes, you typically have not so good tests, etc. There is also non-standardized vehicle architectures. We have different bus systems, for example, for communication. There is no clear standard like we have it, let's say, today in an office environment. And therefore, it's also a problem because it's going into railway or vehicles. We have to go through approval processes, especially for railways. It's a very hard process and it's not that easy. And we have seen in the past that many companies try to use standard products, commercial off-the-shelf products from industrial, put it into in a street vehicle or a train or a tram, and then they failed because this is not accepted by the certification authorities. So this drives us that we need to be more competitive, have affordable products with a much higher quality. And if you have a higher market, a larger market, you get more competition. And competition is good for the market because it's good for the customers, because they lower their costs. It's also good for the product quality because competition enlarges the product quality. And this is a key center of the IT4PT organization, that they like to have a centralized combination architecture, try to use standard protocols, and to, of course, not to forget to have these features and special requirements which are in public transportation. And we will talk in the terms of that now for a specific device within a vehicle, the so-called vehicle communication gateway. So the vehicle communication gateway is a key component because it's what you say tray to ground or vehicle to ground communication device. Surprisingly, today, if you see many buses, you see they look very funny because they have many antennas on the roof. Each service in the bus has its own connection. The people can't send its data through using an own SIM. The onboard unit, the computer does it, passenger Wi-Fi, etc. It's like the old days, which we have in our offices or in the beginning of the internet, where you have in each computer your own modem connecting to it. Then over 20 years, all offices have now one edge router connecting the office to the outside, and all services within the office is using the same line outside. This is still not the case in public transportation. There are still so many lines or connections between vehicle and ground. And the idea is that this vehicle communication gateway has the same function like your DSL router at home, like your edge router in your office. It is the standard gateways for different types of application, and they use all this. And you see on the picture on the right side what kind of services are available in buses. And it's typically CCTV, it's ticketing, it's passenger information, it's driver communication. But there is also, as in buses, not so in trains, there is a different technique. In buses, we also have the so-called FMS or fleet management bus, which is a CAN bus interface, which is also standardized, where you can get through CAN information about the engine, the speed, etc. And the IT4PT architecture proposes to have exactly this picture on the right side. You have an IP-based backbone, no longer specific protocols like IBIS or others, networks, no serial communication at all. Everything is going by IP. and for the vehicle communication to the engine and the bus itself, use the CAN bus. And this leads us to the role and the idea of the IT4PT. So what is IT4PT? It's, let's say, a mix or a summary of different companies. It's suppliers of communication products like NETMODULE, there are bus vendors, there are system integrators, and they all connected together to get in a position that we have an open platform in the vehicle which allows the end customer to select the component he likes to have. If I talk to transport companies, one of their biggest problems in the past was they went with one system integrator, providing them a complete solution. Vehicle communication, people counting, ticketing, ticket machines, everything. The only problem was for them, they have been locked by this one system integrator. There was no openness in the system, the interfaces have not been open, even often not described. And if there was a small change in one of the components, it becomes very, very expensive. One customer of mine was telling me, I like to change the IP address of my onboard computer from a fixed IP to DHCP, and I have been charged for 6,000 euro. And this is why the operators are also pushing a lot IT4PT. For example, TPC in Geneva is one of the driving forces here. NETMODULE itself, we are members since 2019. We are a so-called active member. We participate on the meetings. We are working in some of the working groups, and we still think and see that the IT4PT is the right way in public transportation. What's about the IT4PT label? So that's a key point of IT4PT. It's like many labels, it likes to give you some quality, some standards, and then if you know it's IT4PT, it should be easily become interconnected. And so it's a standard, or the idea of a standard. IT4PT itself, it's not a governmental organization, it's a private organization finally. So it's more a club than a ministry. But of course, if all participants agree on it, it's quite good. So the idea of this IT4PT label is that we have compliance in hardware, which is mainly connections, pin layout, etc. Software, so the services. And that's a key point for this IT4PT label. And it's also included that the product has to be certified or renewed anytime. The label declares finally for you that it's compliant to IT4PT, but we have to be a little bit careful about what this label means in practice. As always, the devil is in the detail. What is the detail? So you see on the right side, this is a full list of service and functionalities which can be achieved for IT4PT. On the left, I cut it out, the major part for vehicle gateways. And you see that here there are different services, and later on we will give you a little bit more detail what these services means. But you see there is one service which is mandatory, it's the so-called module inventory. For your technicians, it's something like if the device starts up, it's on the network, anybody can ask the device, hi guy, what kind of services do you offer? And the module inventory then replies, I have this, and this service. And there is a very simple standard answer, which is, I have no services. And in this case, the device is IT4PT compliant. Unfortunately, it doesn't bring you any value. And if you look on the NETMODULE IT4PT label, you see we support all the services which are relevant to the vehicle gateway, while we have seen other products in the list where you see it's a vehicle communication gateway, and the only module service which is implemented is the module inventory. So what is our overall portfolio? Mainly are two components which are we offering. One is the vehicle communication gateway, which is finally a router, a mobile or cellular router, and switches. And for the routers, we have different variants, and I like now to introduce you in the different variants we have and what is the key difference between it. For the IT4PT architecture, you see a little bit more detail what it means in practice. For example, in a train or in a bus, you have the blue line on the train here is the communication backbone. The switches are connected to that. The vehicle communication gateways are connected. Typically on large trains, you have one on each side. And on this bus, you see the different services. And if you have a vehicle, then you, of course, you have also, in addition, the fleet management bus and the FMS bus, which is a CAN bus. So these are the three components we have. We have the railway routers, the NB 3000 line. We have the bus or street vehicle line with the 2800. And we just recently released the 2810. And we have a switch which can be used in both areas, railway as well as street vehicles. And of course, in all of this, we have the router software, which includes the services for IT4PT. So start with the railway router. So it's a fully railway certified device. You see a picture on the right side. Typical applications are, of course, communication, but it's also, it could be more. It could become a standalone passenger Wi-Fi solution. It can be used for voice communication, which means SIP, as well GSM voice, so standard phone call. And the features are listed here. It's a modular device. You can have up to 4 LTE modems. It's already 5G ready. We can have up to 2 dual band Wi-Fi modules. And you see there are some extensions available, like additional serial, CAN bus, audio, etc. There is a GPS also included, and there are different GPS or GNSS versions available, and it's also possible to put in 1 terabyte of SSD. Of course, it's not a computing platform like an Intel i9 or i7. It's a dual-core ARM processor with 1.3 gigahertz. But we have seen that many smaller applications, including, by the way, even video or portal solutions, can be run on the device. All the software feature function, by the way, is identical over all of our routers. So you have the same software on all NETMODULE products. The only difference is in the hardware interfaces, of course. If you have different interfaces, you have different services for it. The software is everything you need for a good router. We address the professional server, professional network engineer, and the customer's feedback about the software, the use of the software, the ease of use of software is very, very positive. I would say the customer love it and like it. For railways, we have the EN 50155, which is a railway certification, as well as the fire safety, which is the 54545. And according the 5155 standard, we have different input power classes, and we have two variants of the model. One does the 24, 36, 48, and the other class down to the 72 and 96 up to 110 volt DC. The router is also has also so-called eMark, or the ECR10. So it's an E1. So it can also be used in buses, and of course it's IT4PT certified. The second product, which is a good seller, it has sold in thousands, it's running in many large projects, is the NB 2800. It's targeting the bus market. Therefore, you see the eMark, you see the RJ45, and the same type of applications, the Vehicle Communication Gateway. The features is you have in total 4 modules. You can have up to 4 LTE modules. You can have up to 2 Wi-Fi. So you see the similarity to the 3800. You can also have this 1 terabyte of SSD, same software functionality, same core. Input power is 12 to 48 volt. So you can run it even on very old buses or cars with 12 volt. And it has a so-called ignition sensing, which means you can have the router running after you switched off the vehicle for, let's say, 15-20 minutes, configurable to offload data. And of course, there is no standard about environment. This is in conjunction to 5155 railway, where it is defined, and we are TX. But here it's minus 25 to 70 degrees, IP40. And you see it has the right certification and, of course, IT4PT. And we did also in the car business, we would say a facelift. We did one version which is slightly different. The only difference is that it has, beside RJ45, it has N12 connectors. Why did we do that? In IT4PT, M12 is mandatory. And therefore, we could get in the past only IT4PT compliance if we put to the router an interface cable RJ45 to M12. But this is not a good idea. This is not solid. And therefore, we decided to make a variant of the NP 2810 with M12, so that the box is itself IT4PT compliant, let's say, out of the box. Same features, nothing special. And we have switches. So you see here the ES3300. This is a managed switch for road and rail, as well vehicles. So we have all the needed certifications. It has a 2 gigabit Ethernet, of course, all M12, and we have 8 fast Ethernet ports with PoE or without PoE. That are the 2 options. Features is what you expect. Finally, it's a managed switch, and it has also the IT4PT service support. And we currently integrate this switch into our router software, that you can configure the switch from the router itself, and also that the switch is integrated in the NETMODULE connectivity suite. On the compliance, you see all compliance which is needed for street vehicle as well railway, and of course IT4PT. And how would a vehicle, for example, in a street vehicle look like? Classically, you would have a gigabit Ethernet backbone, which is a daisy chain through the switches. And in a good system, you would also have the ring cable, so the 1 line back. So if one device fails or one cable breaks, you will still have connectivity to all switches. And the standard which is used for that is so-called Rapid Spanning Tree Protocol, which is of course supported by all our products. So what is about these IT4PT services? What does it mean in practice for us? And now we go at the end of the presentation through all of the different services, and we will talk a little bit what it means. So first of all, it's the inventory service. So the inventory service is just the idea. We have a service architectures. So there are devices in the network. I can ask the devices, what kind of service do you have? And then the devices answer. It's a little bit similar to what we have with printers and scanners in our business office. So you just plug in a new printer and it pops up in your computer and asks, do you like to use this printer, scanner, etc. So, and these inventory service, this is mandatory for all IT4PT devices. It gives you what kind of services is available on this device. And the definition, which is public available, you see on the right side. So the first service we have implemented, of course, is the so-called time service. And the time service is what we expect. It sends the time. And of course, there is a standardization on time zone. So it's by definition in IT4PT, it's UTC. And as a base service, the technique which is used is simple network transfer time protocol, so SNTP. The second is GPS or GNSS location service. Oh, sorry, there's a writing. So this means that the GPS position is sent in a standard way to all people, all systems in the vehicle. So if you need the GPS position, for example, for passenger information, you subscribe to the service and then you get the exact position of the vehicle, including direction and speed, etc. And then you can use it in your software. And it's possible that many applications subscribe to this service, like for every other service. So it can be subscribed by many. Then the bigger part is the so-called FMS to IP Gateway. So if you have a CAN interface on your device, and we have for all of our routers, not only for the vehicle routers, we have CAN interfaces. We can have up to 2 CAN interfaces. We even have one system with 4 CAN interfaces. We include the so-called FMS to IP software stack. And what does it mean finally? It says, if you look on the right way, our telematic gateway or vehicle communication gateway device, it takes the data from the FMS bus, it converts it, and it brings it as a service to IT4PT or FMS to IP, which is also a standard. This is a software option, so if you have a CAN interface, you have also to license this, and it gives you full access, transparent access to the FMS bus. And you can use it in your programming environment. You can use it within the NETMODULE software development kit in the SDK. So there's a different way of using it. We have many customers using it now, especially in the the battery-driven devices or hydrogen, because they check the status of the battery and other stuff through the FMS bus. So this is the general is the FMS to IP Gateway, which is a service FMS to IP, and it gives you all the services which are in this standard. The vehicle to IP Gateway is an additional documentation of the IT4PT. It gives finally the FMS information and some additional data, which could be from your application to the whole system. So let's sum up. So we spoke about the services, we spoke about the product, we spoke about the IT4PT labeling, and that we have to be careful that a label not means that you have get any service out of it or quality, and we spoke about the NETMODULE. So our portfolio which is seen here. You see different devices which are in public transportation of Assange. They are all equipped with the NETMODULE router service, which has all these services. MQTT is on a good track, so we get certification now. Therefore, we will have it full IT4PT compliant latest in Q3. It's already implemented. It's more the certification process. So we see with this product offering, we are a commercial of the shelf IT4PT product vendor, and this is I think a good position for you as a customer, because it's not a device of any system integrator with special features, etc. It's an open commercial of the shelf. You can buy it one piece without any problems. It's widely available, and these products can be used by you. You can use it integrated in your IT4PT vehicle, and you have no dependency on any system integrator like in the past. We have all connection from 2G up to 4G, 5G is in preparation, so we are 5G ready. We have GPS, we have the compliance for everything you need, and this is also unique. If you buy one of our routers, you get a so-called compliance plaque, which includes all certification documents and tests which are needed to go to the certification authority. And especially in railways, this is a big bunch of work and paper and a lot of money to do it. And our service is take our certification pack, put it to the certification authority, which is typically the Ministry of Transportation or some of the subsidiaries. And if you have any problem with our products, we solve it. You don't have to do any additional work. It's our service. We provide as a device commercial off-the-shelf manufacturer, we provide gateways, so the routers, switches, and the antennas, and they all fit to each other. But of course, you can have your own gateways, you can have your own switches, your own antennas. It's all open. We support your customers in going to IP, and transportation is on that way. We are an active member of IT4PT, and we like to share with you with our products, but also in our service and support 20 years of IP experience. That's it. Thank you for your attention.